Hey everyone, Andrig with Andrig's Aircooled technology, bringing out a new product. This is an installation video for it. This is a short form installation video. Already really done the modification to the fan shroud to mount this, but just talk about the velocity rings in a minute. This is kind of a release candidate version of the velocity ring. If you kind of notice, I'll try to get it close to the camera. You can kind of see there's a kind of a ridge right here at the top in the 3D print that isn't ideal for the best airflow, but this is the way I tested it, so the results are with that ridge. But I have since refined the print, and this is one for an early VW fan shroud, and you can see nice smooth. You kind of, there's like a little bit of a color difference where that ridge was, but the ridge is actually not there. You can kind of see it's a nice smooth surface there. It's nice smooth everywhere all the way through. And that was just a change in the printer settings that I was using for printing these, and so this is at a different layer height in the print to get that to smooth off, since it's such a subtle curve right there. So that gives the best performance. That's the way these will look, and if you're curious, they will come in orange. That's filament I'm going to be using. They're not. It's not PLA or something like that. This is a thermoplastic with a glass-filled thermoplastic, so it can take the heat of your engine compartment without any problems, and it obviously can withstand all the chemicals that it might get exposed to from a standpoint of oil or gas or whatever. Even if you're running like alcohol or ethanol or other fuels as a racer, these will work with that. So the way this is going to work essentially is there are two different versions. This is the Doghouse version, and I'm just gonna show the installation here on the aftermarket. On the OEM fan shrouds, I'm gonna show you this real quick. On the OEM fan shrouds, this is an OEM 1973 Doghouse fan shroud. The lip on this opening is consistent across the entire, and you can just sit it on there. This velocity ring will just sit on there, and you can find your place for drilling your holes, etc. Super easy with this. No issues at all. There's no air gaps. There's no nothing. It just sits on there, and you can move it just a tiny bit, but it fits on there really snugly. So this makes installation very, very easy. On the aftermarket fan shroud, and it doesn't matter which one they are, whether it's CB Performance, SCAT, EMPI, you name it. This flat surface that is completely flat on OEM is actually rises up. It's actually at two different levels on one end to the other. The opening actually isn't completely round, and there is not a lip the way it is on the OEM fan shroud. The tooling that they designed for these aftermarket fan shrouds is just, I don't know. It's kind of just sloppy, I guess is the right word maybe to give it. It's kind of sloppy. So the opening's not exactly round. There's no defined lip like there is on the OEM. So there's kind of just some flat and just surfaces that aren't even flat at all. The height of them is not consistent on the top. So this will have an air gap along the top part of it, but don't worry about that air gap. It won't affect the performance you get percentage-wise increase in airflow. It won't affect that at all, that air gap, and you don't need to do anything with trying to seal that air gap or anything like that. So don't worry about that, but it is trickier because it won't just sit on there nice and square and flat the way it does on OEM. And of course, these tabs are at actually different heights compared to OEM, because the surfaces aren't flat, they actually rise up. And so this tab right here actually had to be higher than this tab, and that's not the case on OEM. This tab ended up being basically the same. So the trick here in terms of putting this on is just getting it lined up as best you can, since the hole isn't exactly round. So what you're looking for is really to have it, you know, lined up on the two sides as best you can, and then just hold it in. Once you have it on the two sides, then the alignment really should be essentially on the bottom, very lined up on the bottom, and it'll feel a little high on the top is your kind of best alignment, and that will give you, you know, as square and good performance as you possibly can. Then what you do is you need a 2.5 millimeter bit. You just keep it in that spot. Use this outer tab. So this tab that's furthest out. So this tab that's close to the oil cooler. And you'll see how these line up nicely in terms of where they sit flat. But you'll have one tab on one end of where the oil cooler air routes, and one end on the other end, okay? And then you'll have the third tab, the thicker tab, will be flat, just a little bit above, you know, the indentation that's next to where my finger is, this indentation that's next to the oil cooler air scoop, right, that's running around here. And you can see that the way that I've already modified that fan shroud, right? So what you want to do is you want to start with this one here. Start with this one. Then go to the flat one, because that, once you put one in, you can, if for some reason, you know, you got off a little bit, you still have adjustment space, and that will lock in exactly where you want it. So those are the two you want to do, and then you follow this one. So you drill a 2.5 millimeter hole just using the tab. You'll see that this is pretty much exactly 2.5 millimeters. Just using that tab as your reference. You just want to hold the tab in place, get your drill bit going, drill a little ways in. It will only take a little bit, and you can remove this, drill through, and then drill it to 5 millimeters after that, because you're just using this as your reference, okay? 5 millimeters after that, and then you're going to install the rivet nut. And these all come in the kit, the rivet nut, in that 5 millimeter hole. And you'll use, is a rivet nut tool. This is Astro. The brand is Astro of the one that I use. I'll try to put a link in the description here. It's the ADN14, which comes with the appropriate bit size of a 3 millimeter by 0.5 millimeter thread bolt size, or rivet nut size, because that's the bolt that's going to go on there. And so we just use one of these tools right here, and I'm not going to illustrate. You can. This tool is really easy to use. You just thread your rivet nut on the end of it. You just thread your rivet nut onto the end of it, and then I don't have the tool all together, but the rivet nut onto the end of that. You'll insert the rivet nut in, use your drill, cinch the rivet nut up. You be very careful not to break your tool, which I actually did on one of these. That's why I can't show you exactly how to use it, but you'll see how to use it. It's actually really simple. And once you have that in place, once you have the first rivet nut in place, go ahead and use one of your little bolts, stick it on there, to just hold it in place. Just to hold it in place. Then you can just adjust and make sure you're lined up for your big tab right here. Then you'll drill your 2.5 millimeter hole through that. Get it started at least. Remove your bolt, remove that, open it to 5 millimeters, insert your rivet nut, clamp it in there. Then again, you can then put 2 bolts in, do the 3rd rivet nut, and then you're ready to go. So, and then after that, these are 3 millimeter by 0.5 millimeter thread bolts. They come with a little spring washer as well. And there's 2 short ones. The 2 short ones go on the 2 thinner tabs. Like so. And like so. You can thread them all by hand. They're really simple to do. And you can either use a quarter drive 5.5 millimeter socket or a little 5.5 millimeter wrench. Doesn't really matter. Once you have all 3, you just cinch them up, and there's a recess in the bottom of those tabs that make it fit over the edge of the rivet nut. So what you should see is this thing be completely flush. And again, these are wave or spring washers, a lot like the way VW did a lot of the fasteners on our beloved air-cooled vehicles. So you don't need to do anything with, you know, like these things rocket ship tight or anything like that. Just make sure they're cinched down, and you've got a nice flat wave washer. All this stuff will come with the kit in terms of the rivet nuts and nuts and bolts. And there is an installed velocity ring. These things perform really, really well. About 7.27% increase in airflow. I think they kind of look cool in orange. That's kind of why I chose to do orange, but regardless of that, that's what you got, and that's how you install it. Same is true. You want to do the exact same procedure on the OEM, but it's just so much easier to have it centered, because it's just going to sit on there just rock solid, and you can just kind of hold the tab and drill. That's it. So you're ready to go. I'll do a longer form of this. We'll actually show installing the rivet nuts in a future video, but I really appreciate it. These products will be on the website really soon and available for purchase. So appreciate that, and I appreciate all your guys' business and following me through thick and thin on kind of this journey of creating products for air-cooled VWs. Appreciate it again, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.